Matchweek 12. Ole out. United lose to Watford at the Vic. Arsenal's defense fails the test at Anfield as Liverpool roll to a 4-0 victory. Chelsea and City each pile up a 3-0 victory, and the two of the best 3-3 draws you'll ever witness. All there was for Matchweek 12 and a preview of Matchweek 13 and Matchweek 14 on this week's Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, the ball in behind Damian Bunny! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
There it is.
Hank,
There it is.
how is it going? Great week of matches.
As a fan of Ole. Ole bros, it's over.
Ole's not at the wheel.
Bruh.
Michael Carrick is at the wheel now.
Michael Carrot is at the wheel.
But you know who's not at the wheel? Leicester. They're asleep at the wheel.
Let's get right into it.
Let's get
Match
right
week
into
12, first match at the KP. Leicester, Chelsea. We got Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Evans, Amarte, Albrighton, Ndidi, Castagna, Sumare, Barnes, Vardy, Lookman. Chelsea, we're looking at Mendy, Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Chalaba, Jorginho, Conte, Chilwell, Reece James, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Kai Havertz out there as well. With this game, it was just dominated from the get-go.
Yeah, that first half was like disgusting.
It was just right off the bat.
Like-
Chelsea had chances, and they had chances the whole match.
Yeah, they looked completely in control. There wasn't even the few moments where it's like, okay, Jamie Vardy on the counter or something.
There was one, I remember, where Vardy had a nice pass to Lookman, but it was blocked.
Yeah.
But there, like you said, there's one chance. And then Lookman had one where it was a nice ball in, but he was offside, so it didn't
Right.
matter. But
Right. Yeah.
other than that, it was literally Chilwell just popping shots and
Yeah.
Conte running down the middle of the field unmarked. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the thing with Leicester in this game, too, is I wouldn't say the wide players were like terrible. I think Chelsea's wide players are just so good that they made them look not very good. But the main thing in this one was Sumare and Ndidi were just
Yeah, that was
stinking up the joint.
Not a good midfield pairing. You could definitely see they were missing Tielemans out there.
Just not only did you have nothing going forward, their job is to just be defensive-minded and shore up midfield. As we were just talking about N'Golo Kante running straight down the middle of the field, popping shots. I mean, that
Very concerning.
Chelsea was getting to every second or third ball. I mean, Leicester didn't have a ball winner out there. It was terrible.
It's one thing to be playing Chelsea, but then to be playing Chelsea and allow them all that space, it's like
You're
done for.
Yes. First chance early, Chilwell played in
The mad
behind.
lad himself.
Played in behind, shot, tipped onto the crossbar, I believe.
R.I.P. Ben Chilwell.
But they get their first goal. Chelsea off the corner. Leicester concede the most headed goals. Chelsea have the most headed goals. This seems like simple math, Sam.
Chelsea has like 13 goals from defenders. The next highest is like 2.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's not
crazy.
even real. Rudiger scores, and then a couple Leicester chances, but mainly Chelsea just going forward. The Conte goal. The
So
shot
much
wasn't even
space.
like amazing, but that's the crazy thing, is that he was able to just literally walk forward.
Yeah.
And
Anytime you just walk through the midfield like that and then pop a shot, people are going to be like, okay, Okay.
I know, and Chelsea get a lot of credit for it. I feel like this is no one's given enough shit
Yeah.
to Leicester.
Yeah,
it.
for sure. They were putting in very little effort into disrupting what Chelsea were going for. I mean, it was all Chelsea. Very easy. It wasn't even like the Burnley game where Chelsea was just like pushing it, pedal to the metal. It was
Yeah,
just
at least
like we
Burnley
have the
had
ball.
some form to their defending and stuff, and they were getting beat behind and whatnot and out
Yeah.
wide, but they at least had some shape.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester, I don't know what they were doing. They looked like they hadn't played together before.
Yeah, that midfield. Hopefully they never play together again because that was bad.
Going into the second half, Chelsea keep piling on the pressure, mainly Chilwell and Pulisic with the main chances. Chilwell had that one that Schmeichel saved to the far post, put it wide. I guess Amarte had the one pop shot from midfield, big save by Mendy, but it just never really felt like Leicester had anything going in this game.
Yeah, they looked better somewhat in the second half once they brought on James Madison. He looked like he was like alive.
I mean, it was hard to look worse than.
Yeah. So
Not to mention, did Harvey Barnes even touch the ball like in the first half?
I'm not sure anyone touched the ball for Leicester. Maybe Schmeichel.
That's about it. Yeah, they brought on Madison and Iheanacho. Didn't do a ton, but I mean, Chelsea at that point were just kind of a little more content to
Right.
save what they had. I thought Ziyech looked pretty good
Mm-hmm.
out there. He was making some stuff happen. Hudson-Odoi, too, going forward for Chelsea. He's just the Adama Traore of Chelsea, though. He can do stuff, but it never results in a goal.
Yeah.
Your guy, Pulisic, he's
The
back.
American.
He's back.
Fresh off a nice draw from Jamaica.
So it ends 3-0. I want to get your takeaways for each team going forward. Do you take anything away from Chelsea in this game?
I would say
We've
not really, but it's a good result after dropping the points against Burnley. Overall, very controlled performance. They did what they had to do. They got the 3 points, got their goals.
I agree with the
Didn't
bounce
have
back.
to stress too hard. Got to rotate some players in the second half.
So next, Man U manager Brendan Rodgers, what does he have to fix for Leicester?
Yeah, well, Brendan Rodgers is going down, down, down to the burning ring of fire. And he might not get hired by Man U,
Yep.
and he'll be tired.
Oh my gosh.
But really, though, Leicester have really fallen off a cliff here. I mean,
Yeah.
this season, kind of the second half of the last season as well. I mean, they have looked really bad, comparatively to what we've seen Leicester be able to do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a mix of things just aren't going their way, and they have some kind of mindset issue because the whole time in this game they're just complaining about fouls to the ref the entire time, and it's like you just have to get on with it. There are fouls. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no organization to the defense, especially in this game, but the Johnny Evans effect is no more. It's just all over the place.
Only he can do so much.
Exactly. They couldn't get anything going in attack. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
They're going to have to change formation. They're going to have to change personnel in terms of who they're starting. Maybe even tactics in terms of how you're going to, if you're going to be more direct, because whatever you're doing right now is not direct in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But
You got to have some. If you're going to play like that where you let the other team have the ball a lot, you have to be dangerous on the counter.
Yeah.
And they just.
Leicester in the past have, not now.
The thing I see Leicester, it seems like they're lacking, is that guy who can make the play to get the ball to Jamie Vardy.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times it's just like Jamie Vardy is out there on an island by himself. And like in the past with like Mahrez or, James Madison when he's in form, you have guys who can pull out some high level of skill to break fast and hit Jamie Vardy.
We've talked about that in terms of it. Madison isn't the guy he used to be, and Tielemans needs to. He's ideally more of your secondary playmaker kind of guy, but right now he has to be the primary guy.
Exactly.
Because no one else is there. But it's tough stuff for Leicester. They got to figure it out.
Yeah, this one was really a no contest. Sad to say.
But this next one,
This was a contest.
it's pretty good.
Stevie G's first contest, Aston Villa versus Brighton.
Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Matty Target, Konsa, Mings, McGinn, Marvelous, Jacob Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, Ings. Yeah, it was kind of weird because on the Premier League site it lists as a 4-3-3. It wasn't really a 4-3-3, I didn't think, when I was watching them, but I thought it was more like a 4-4-2.
Yeah, it kind of fell back more into a structured 4-4-2 with Watkins and Ings, and then Buendia dropping back more as a wide midfielder.
Brighton, we got Mr. Bobby Sanchez, Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk, Shane Duffy, Tariq Lamptey, Cucurella, Bissouma, Gross, Motor, Trossard, and Adam Lallana. So more of that, not really just no number 9 out there. Trossard is kind of a false 9, floating around doing stuff.
Yeah, shout out Jason Steele too, by the way, getting the start
Yes, it wasn't Bobby Sanchez.
over Bobby Sanchez. So getting into this one, Villa, they looked, pretty decent in the first 15 minutes. They had some good possession.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I noticed about Villa is they looked to be a lot more controlled and maybe a little more conservative.
Yeah.
Not getting the wingbacks pushed too far up and having good defensive cover. And it looked just in the midfield, they were more solid. Having the 3 guys in there helped them out.
Yeah, I wonder if, it might just be part of Stevie G's tactics to be doing that, but I wonder if it's just something about, hey, we've been losing. We got to shore this up. We got to make sure that we're not just getting beat on simple things and making dumb mistakes. So they're kind of being conservative, like you're saying. But no, yeah, it was really back and forth game, this one, early on. I know Brighton was able to get forward. I'd say Brighton probably had the best chance in the first half. That wide play where the ball was kind of bouncing around and then it fell to Trossard. We had that rip, but I think Lamptey I think that was the first half where Lamptey had a shot too, and like him and Emi Martinez collided. But
yeah, Brighton had some good spells of possession. They did struggle with creating, really good clear-cut chances.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was just kind of like, okay, pass to Lamptey and he'll run down the wing and try and get it in, but there's no one in the center to get it to.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard because if you have to play conservative defensively against Brighton, just take away the simple things, take away the center of the pitch, and you might not always beat them, but you'll give yourself a much better chance, and that's what Villa were able to do. It's like you can do stuff wide, but you're not going to be able to cut it back centrally or anything.
Yeah, I thought Aston Villa did a really good job with defending narrowly, just blocked off anything in the box. Like there was very little space to work with. Something I like to see after, their poor defensive displays that they've had in the previous weeks.
Yes.
Where they give up goals that they probably shouldn't have. You just put some guys in the box, make it hard for them to work around.
Yeah, and even if you look at their lineup, that makes more sense that they're playing like that. Ramsey, Marvelous, who I thought actually played really well for Villa this game. You're not going Bailey out there. At least they subbed him on later, but they didn't have him on early. So
our theory of you can only play one of Buendia or Bailey.
Yeah. And then before half, I'd say the only real chance for Villa was that through ball to Ings, but Steele there to collect it. Nothing crazy going on there. So 0-0 at half. What changed in the second half, Sam?
Changed in the second half. Villa looked like they had a little more intent. Mostly kind of in the second half of the second half. They had a good chance right after the break. But then Brighton kind of had all the possession and were trying to break down Villa. But then ultimately, Villa, you weather the storm and eventually
Yes.
you'll get through. And they sure did weather the storm.
They had the counterattack.
And I think a huge change that helped Villa was bringing on Ashley Young.
Mm-hmm.
He looked so good out there, honestly.
Yes.
Like, he instantly changed kind of the attacking prowess of Aston Villa. And they got the goal in the 85th minute. Nice run from Ashley Young on the break. Plays the ball up to Watkins. Just a beautiful cut across the box. Nice shot. And that's a big one for Villa, especially after Brighton has been trying so hard to score and failing. And then Villa come and hit them with a punch. You know, at that point, Brighton are trying to salvage anything they can. And Villa hit them for a second with Tyrone Mings.
The Mings. Strange goal. Yeah, I would say going back to the Ashley Young part, they sub on Bailey and then soon after take off Buendia. So they're doing what we're talking about. Buendia obviously coming out for Ashley Young. Ashley Young just providing so much in terms of defense. And it makes sense. I'm surprised they didn't maybe bring him on sooner given like how the game was aligning for them. But yeah, massive break on the first goal by Watkins. Great run, great finish. Then the second goal, kind of strange. They had a chance, and then the ball went out of the box. They loop around, get it, swing it back in, draw some defenders away from the ball, and then Mings just has like an empty net.
Yeah, Dunk with a great clearance stopping two guys from getting to the ball. And then, unfortunately for him, it just ended up going right to Mings, who was wide open.
Yes. So 2-0. Stevie G, first win.
There was a lot of character in that win.
Yeah.
To pull out a Brendan Rodgerism.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I think that this is a good sign for Villa. I think that with a solid performance like this, it gives you that vote of confidence that, okay, yeah, no, there's probably like a 1% chance that they'd be in like a relegation fight this year, but I think that kind of puts it to bed. I have full faith in Villa going forward.
I like the idea of just shoring up at the back, focus on your fundamentals, having good defense, and then you're a team who can score on the counter. I mean, you got Ollie Watkins,
Buendia, Bailey,
playing
guys.
Ings. I mean, you got a lot of attacking power. So I think the most important thing is
shore up the midfield, especially the defensive half of it.
Shore up the defense because really Villa, they have quality defenders. I mean, they shouldn't be giving up too many goals. So, you get off to a good start when you're not giving up cheap goals, and then you can go on and score some.
Having that strong defense, massive foundation. As for Brighton, tough result. I wouldn't say that a draw was necessarily deserved because Villa did have the better chances, but Brighton, I think, had like 2 or 3 chances to where they could have scored, but I don't know. The quality just wasn't there in this game. And I think, that's just how it's going to be if teams are playing this kind of very solid, structured defense against Brighton. It's going to make it way harder on Brighton to work for a goal. Right.
Yeah, there's kind of that formula that you can let Brighton have the ball and just defend early, and they're going to struggle to get it centrally.
And we're not even talking about like just low block, park the bus, you're just sitting in your own box. I mean, it's just playing defense, covering all sides and everything. It's just tough for Brighton at times, and that's why it's like maybe they should have brought on a 9 once they saw that they were able to do what they could do. But yeah,
I think they need to make some sort of attacking addition that will bring some creativity, some finishing. I mean, otherwise, I think this is going to be happening more and more often, where you see teams know how to defend against Brighton, especially teams that aren't necessarily going to be like super attacking focused, teams that are like happy to defend.
Exactly. Yeah, I just feel like even Maupai hasn't been great, but bringing him on 79th minute, like that's just too late.
Yeah, that doesn't give you a real chance. Maybe like the 60th minute. give him a good run out there.
So maybe for Brighton, looking ahead, maybe they go away from the false nine and just have Maupay out there, depending on the opponent. Obviously, it worked for them against Liverpool, having that tactics, but playing Liverpool is different than playing Villa. So can't apply your personnel to every matchup. Burnley Palace. This was a game. I watched it live.
Wonderful game.
Amazing.
Absolutely wonderful.
I was out of my mind watching this game. Pope, Loughton, Taylor, Tarkovsky, me, Goodmanson, Brownhill, McNeil, Westwood, Wood, Cornet. As for Palace, Guaita, Ward, Mitchell, Guehi, Anderson, Milivojevic, Kouyaté, Gallagher, Ayew, Zaha, Benteke.
No MacArthur for Crystal Palace. He's out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Tweaked his hamstring.
That's what happens when you're old man.
Unfortunate
But you're
for
amazing.
Palace. Yes.
It's been going too hard. This game, off the bat, was just wonky. It was just a weird game.
Yeah.
It's like pouring rain. No one has a real good feel. There's like no good passes.
Right.
And then the first goal comes from just terrible defending. Cornet, bad header out. No one closes out on Benteke. Weird deflected ball off the post and in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the match. And I mean, yeah, like you said, the midfield play was pretty non-existent.
Yes.
Honestly, it was just kind of back and forth. Teams going at each other.
Yeah, even Palace's midfield in this one was more Kouyaté and Milivojevic were a little more absent than weeks past. And Gallagher was pretty much a second forward with Benteke.
Right, yeah, you could definitely tell that they were missing
Or third was
MacArthur's presence in the midfield. Milivojevic, I mean, he's decent, but he's very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And a game like this, he's just getting passed by constantly. So going into the 19th minute, Ben Mee from the corner rises up like a salmon from the creek.
Just postered.
Heads home.
Just postered whoever was marking him. Just mossed him. Far corner.
Onto the post.
The announcers were talking about that it could have been a foul, and I think there was even a check. I was like, come on.
Yeah, they're never going to call that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not Tarkovsky first game of the year where he trucked the guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's just, it happens on every play off of the corner kick, yeah.
Then we had that little scuffle.
Yeah, the Zaha and
this had to have
Tarkovsky. I
happened.
mean, Tarkovsky's like, he's on like a scuffle a game streak, it seems like. He's
And
always trying to fight people.
Wilfred Zaha is in people's minds right now.
Absolutely. He's like the top tier troll, getting you all riled up. And he had Tarkovsky riled up.
He's a wind-up merchant.
Absolutely.
The Chris Wood goal, kind of out of nothing. Not even that great of a header. Good placement, I guess, but there wasn't much pace on it. I thought, am I crazy? Guaita could have, should have had that.
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty slow. Also, just not very good defending.
Yeah, it wasn't marked.
Yeah.
We tried to hint at this last week on our last pod that Palace defense might take a little bit of a hit here, maybe a wake-up call, but not like this Palace.
Yeah, especially on set pieces, they look pretty fragile.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something
And Burnley
will capitalize on.
Absolutely. The Benteke, just like free header that he missed.
Benteke's got to be the worst player I've ever seen. Like somehow he has like 6 goals this season, but
he's got to be the most inefficient guy.
Absolutely. You know how Brighton is like the expected goals? Like
yes.
That thing? He must be like well below his expected goals.
He probably is. But he capitalizes on one here. Great run from Gallagher. I think it was Joel Ward who played the ball over the top for Gallagher to run it. Great ball.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor had to kind of cut across, sold out, got dangled.
See, that's why it's funny, though, because it'll be like the 28th minute. I'm like, God, Benteke, you are so trash. Like, how did you miss that header? Even though he scored earlier in the match. And then he does this, and I'm like,
36th.
I don't understand, you know?
I mean, to be fair, this was more Gallagher.
Yeah, it was.
And Ward.
But the fact that he gets in positions to score, and sometimes he does.
speaking of positions to score, another strange play of the ball just like pinging around. There's 4 guys for Burnley on the line for this goal. No one's marking Guehi at like the penalty spot.
Very strange.
I didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah, he just gets the ball and has to like find a spot where the Burnley defenders aren't.
Defending was optional in this one, to say the least.
Yes.
Goes in the half 3-2. Palace. So take the lead, lose the lead, take the lead again, and then right out of half, Maxwell Cornet.
The man only scores amazing goals. Like, he's insane.
Another, like, the ball from Tarkovsky, just like, it wasn't a bad one, but like, how did no one touch it to where it just got to Cornet, and then he just, on the half volley at the far post, smashes it home.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot give Cornet any space. Like, if he gets like an inch of space, he's going to rip a volley, like top corner. Like, that is disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane, that man.
So 3-3. And then we have the Anderson play. He didn't even get a card.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
No, he did not.
It just adds to the craziness of this.
So what's your thoughts? Red card or no?
I mean, it looked like it was the last guy back.
Sure did to me. It's like a 50-50 whether they call it or not.
No. We don't need to go in this anymore because we've talked about it plenty. Where
it's a
this
staple
is just,
of the pod.
I don't know why it's 50-50, but it is. Last man back is a card. Most of the time when it's not called so far, it's been a yellow. This one, he didn't even get carded.
Honestly, though, it doesn't make sense because this is one of those that's like, it's not that hard to call. You know, it's pretty obvious.
You'd think, but, to add to the craziness of the game.
I think it's just referees don't want to give out red cards.
I'll tell you what. The Wilf almost had a winner.
Oh, my God, that volley.
That was, Pope with barely, like, any touch on it, and the ball didn't even, like, move, really, when he touched it onto the crossbar.
Yeah, I'd like to know how fast that was going. It looked so fast. Like, unexplainably fast.
Yes. Vidra comes on for Burnley, has a few chances, mainly in the 93rd minute. He's pretty much through on goal.
Yeah.
And just has one shitter of a shot.
Classic Vidra.
Just a terrible
You knew it was
shot.
coming the second he was through on goal.
3-3, well-deserved for both sides. Great game. I would say guarantee game of the week for probably entertainment for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But maybe not this week because we had Newcastle-Brentford.
Yeah.
And this one was a doozy as well. Carl Darlow, Kieran Clark, Fabian Schär back.
He's
back. Lascelles, Shelby, Matt Ritchie, Jacob Murphy, Joe Willock, Joe Linton, Callum Wilson, Alan St. Maximin. As far as Brentford go, we have Alvaro Fernandez, Ethan Pinnock, Janssen, the Danish guy that has like a Russian name.
Mads.
Yeah, we're just going to call him Mads.
Roshlev.
Rico Henry, Norgard, Kanos, Gulos,
Yes.
Janalt, Tony, and Buemo for Brentford. This one right off the bat was just a wild one too. Wasn't quite like in the first couple minutes. Sometimes Newcastle really have like a great chance. Wasn't like the first couple minutes, but about the 10th minute. Well, I guess Wilson had the one.
Yeah,
he had one
early
that was
chance
close, but
on the header.
But other than that, Lascelles off the corner.
1-0, rising up like a salmon out of the creek.
A lot of headers this week.
Yeah, a lot of set piece. I mean, when Burnley scores 3 goals, it's going to be set
bound
piece
to be
goals.
set piece goals. Yeah, I mean, we figured that, Matt Ritchie would play a part a little more in this team because he's a little familiar with Eddie Howe, but I mean, gets an assist here.
Right off the bat, you could tell the attacking intent was much better than under Mr. Graham Jones.
Yes.
Obviously, Eddie Howe out with COVID, so his assistant manager was taking the touchline.
Yeah, and who was that man?
Don't know.
He looked like a computer-generated guy from Spain.
Yeah, I think so. But the team, they were set up. They were playing some classic Newcastle like we've seen
almost
last year,
Steve Bruce-esque.
Yes, R.I.P. Sweet Prince.
Speaking of new Steve Bruce-esque, the defending from Newcastle, just Brentford off the kickoff, back to the goalie, long ball forward, win a header, play the ball through to Tony who won the header, and Carl Darlow, Sam's guy.
He says, "Ole."
Ole.
He moves the what's that when you got
Matador.
The matador. Ole. He moved his hands out of the way so the ball could go in the net.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I think Dubravka might be in service next week.
And then Brentford kept piling it on.
Yeah, 19th minute, got a second goal. Unlucky, Ivan Toney offside.
Pretty close.
And then 31st minute,
This ball.
I love this. The Rico Henry back post run. No one ever covers it. Wonderful ball from Caños. Just on the dime.
Second assist for that man.
You got freaking Rico Henry like coming in hot. Like there's no stopping this man. He's going to score a goal and no one's going to defend him.
Yeah, that ball back post, no one marking him. Just what do you want? What do you want? After that, Newcastle built a little momentum, a lot of it through St. Maximin kind of creating chances, which is great to see. We haven't seen him really do much, like we were saying under Graham Jones. He wasn't featuring him a ton. But the second one doesn't come from St. Maximin. It comes from Joe Linton. Did
someone say Joel Linton? Wow.
Hilarious. The announcer being like, who would have thought this man? Just like, that's so funny to just drop. Who could have seen it?
Respect to Jolington for all that hard work he was doing. Kind of those last few games under Steve Bruce and Graham Jones. He was playing kind of out wide and doing a lot of defense.
Yeah, so he's got to get his goal known for the attacking prowess.
Yeah, a little fortunate. The shot from St. Maximin fell right to him. But hey, you know what? The ball's in front of you. You got to put the biscuit in the basket.
2-2 at half. And then it's just really a bunch of chances for both teams. St. Maximin, Wilson, both piling on the pressure. Brentford, I wouldn't say that Tony was like super, super involved in this one, even though he did have the goal. But
I think he was a lot more than what he has been.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
And that looked a lot better.
True.
I mean, anytime he's getting on the ball, Brentford's offense is going to be so much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just so good with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his passing range, his dribbling.
Yeah, and even Embuemo this game had a couple moments, more so than what he'd had the last couple weeks. But it's Onyeka. Subbed on, weird, own goal.
Yeah.
Deflection.
Deflection from Lascelles, a bit unlucky, but Frank the Tank, he'll take it. Coming on as a sub. But you know who else came on as a sub? That's right, Ryan Fraser, a.k.a. Scrappy Doo. And
Sean
you know what he
Longstaff.
does? He drops a beautiful ball onto St. Maximin.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say Canos' ball was slightly better, but that, for the Keno element of tying the game,
hype.
yeah. St. Maximin!
Celebrates with the fans. I mean,
The headband comes off.
I love St. Maximin because he always celebrates with the fans.
Yes.
And it's like, this guy loves playing for Newcastle. Respect. He
Absolutely.
easily could be like, no,
I hate
I want to
this
go
team.
to play for United or something. But
Yeah.
he gives it his all
Yeah.
every week.
Absolutely.
Mad props.
The break at the very end, pretty much,
Joelinton.
I would say subbed up the game, but it wasn't.
I don't
quite
know
this
why
game.
I keep saying
Joe Ellington.
Jolington. Jolington giveth and Jolington taketh away. See, you got to give him the ball, like right in front of goal. You can't. Don't let him run. Bad things happen.
I mean, he didn't even really have to run. He just had to make one cutback. And
It's
he
too
just
much.
completely fell over. Finishes 3-3. I think there's positives, even though there's no defense. I think there's positives for both teams in this game. mainly Newcastle, to see a week's worth of Eddie Howe training at least got them back on track in attack.
Yeah.
As far as Brentford's positives go, I think they're just going to have to start playing like that too now, because their defense isn't as sharp as it has been. There is still no Ayer. Raya's out until like March or February. So, and there's been a big drop off. I say a big drop off in goalkeeping.
Absolutely.
So I think that, both these teams, not very strong defensively, good offensive showing. That's something to build off of going forward.
Yeah, I like the way Newcastle looked. I'm glad we don't have to watch like 20 more weeks of Graham Jones park the bus.
So they get relegated anyways.
Yeah, completely waste the Newcastle players. But Brentford, it is kind of concerning. I mean, the start of the season, their midfield looked better, defense looked better. Now it's looking pretty shaky. So yeah, honestly, you might as well play the Newcastle game of trying to outscore your opponent 4-3.
Exactly.
So.
And honestly, we all know that that's the best way to play.
Absolutely.
Speaking of best way to play.
Did someone say Dean Smith's Norwich?
Uh-oh.
Wow. They're coming back from the dead.
Uh-oh, people who didn't believe in us when we mentioned that Norwich have a chance of staying up now.
Shout out all you Norwich City Dean Smith believers.
American Aries.
Tim
Kroll, honorary American. Max Aarons, Ben Gibson, Grant Hanley, Brandon Williams, Billy Gilmore, Matthias Norman.
With different hair.
Yes. Kenny McLean, Todd Cantwell, welcome back.
Praise.
Milo Rashica, and Temu Pukki. As far as Southampton go, Alex McCarthy, Kyle Walker-Peters, João Valentino Livramento, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, El Nuesi, Diallo, Armstrong, Che Adams.
Interesting to see Diallo
get the start.
Get the start there.
Yeah, it's Hasenhüttl likes to bounce around his team, and normally we talk about it's in defense, but even in this one, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in the future we see not only Diallo drop out, maybe El Nuesi's kind of fading a little out of form. I could see him kind of falling out, but starting this one just right away, Southampton with a chance and a goal. I think it was 5th or 6th minute. Armstrong able to get the ball to Che Adams. What I noticed it most in this first half, and obviously good shot by Che Adams, but what I noticed most in this first half is how well Southampton were able to get wide, especially Walker-Peters and Livramento, mainly Walker-Peters, honestly, though, getting forward, and then with the cutback passes or just crosses in, it seemed like Norwich was always on the back foot in terms of having to defend in the first half, which I don't think is necessarily terrible. Obviously, you don't want to be down 1-0 and just be sitting back to defend.
Right.
But Dean Smith had to do something to get this defense squared away. That's going to be your main thing when it comes to Norwich. But going on, is there anything that stood out to you in the first half?
First half, I liked Norwich, honestly. They looked like they were kind of rejuvenated. And I thought that their attacking trio...
I mean, Pukki getting the goal.
Get Pukki.
Pukki.
Pukki, put that Pukki down now. Yeah, I don't know. I just... It feels different, honestly. It seemed like there was kind of maybe...
There's some direction.
Some direction. There maybe was some negativity around some of the players, not happy with the manager.
Yeah.
You get a fresh start.
Billy Gilmore and Todd Cantwell were looking at you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say they didn't really have big chances in the first half. Second half, as we'll get to it, they actually started to create a little more. I'd say Tim Kroll has been like sneaky in form lately for like no reason. He kind of kept them in this game. He had a couple saves in the first half, but the main one obviously come in the second half. So we get to half, 1-1, and then coming out of half, I'm wondering, there was something with subs that I wanted to talk about. Oh, they brought on Broja.
She is a Broja.
They brought on Broja.
Yeah, that was kind of unexpected. I
Yeah.
thought.
I don't know. That's what I was saying, though, with El Nuesi. Like, he's kind of falling out of form for Southampton. I think we're going to keep just seeing a bunch of squad rotation out of Southampton.
Yeah.
As far as another sub, Theo Walcott, they could probably just release that guy now.
Yeah, it's hard to say, like, is it that he's out of form?
No,
or...
he stinks. He's washed.
I mean, it feels like he hasn't played very much this season, so I think it's hard to say that he's
Arsenal fans
completely
still
garbage.
holding
I mean,
on to Theo Walcott like he's a top prospect. Anyways,
You're a hater.
you know,
That's what I
speaking
got
of
to
top
know.
prospects for Man U, Brandon Williams actually kind of looked okay doing stuff this game going forward. I would say that, you know, it's guys like that and Gilmore that if they have any chance, it's going to be those wild card players, the younger guys, that are going to keep them up. Even a guy like Kenny McLean, obviously not Aloni, but just the wild card factor players. And even if they get something out of Josh Sargent going forward, like that'll be a positive for him. I also liked how Dean Smith was utilizing Rashica kind of when they were sitting back, using him to get out on the break.
Yeah.
But second goal comes from Hanley, the Grant Hanley, off the corner.
Hank doubted him. He said, Grant Hanley, don't need him.
We don't need him. So they go up 2-1. They see it out. And now that we're at the final result, I'm just going to say, is Alex McCarthy back out of form? He looks stinky. He's very bad again. What happened? He let it get to his head.
He died for Norwich's sins. That's what happened.
Should have saved the Pookie one. Could have saved the Hanley one.
Yeah,
That was bad. That was very bad.
unfortunately.
Going forward, Norwich, Lifeline, Southampton. Like I was saying, I think more squad rotation coming in so Mr. Haasnoodle can find the right match so they don't lose to Norwich. Speaking of pretty much losing to Norwich.
Speaking of, oh my God, what just happened? We got Watford versus Man United.
You were confident in a 4-0, 5-0?
5-0 United win, yes. Thank you for reminding me.
Ben Foster, Messina, and Kulu. Every time I see that guy, I can't believe that he's actually playing. He's like 37.
Yeah.
Washed. Craig Cathcart, Feminia, Lauza, Cleverly, Sissoko, Sar, Denny's, and Josh King. United, De Gea, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. So back to the back four. Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, Matic, McTominay, Ronaldo. So pretty much a 4-3-3 out of United. And then Bruno's kind of going a little more forward, so more of attack-minded 4-3-3. But there was no attack-mindedness to this team. There was no directness to their attack in this team.
It was just chaos is what it was.
They couldn't complete a pass to start the game. They couldn't complete a pass halfway through the game. And they couldn't complete a pass at the end of the game. They really couldn't complete passes today. And Watford wasn't even like their press was amazing or anything. It was just Man U was taking so long on the damn ball, thinking they had all day. And it was just so bad to watch.
It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen out of any team, let alone United. I mean, that's something you expect maybe. You know, Leeds has done it a couple times where they just look awful. Norwich, obviously. Burnley sometimes.
Watford's had a few.
Watford has
They've
had their
a
fair
few.
share, but United just, oh my God, it was ridiculous.
Started with the penalty,
Yeah, starts
Bruno-
off with the penalty.
with the shank.
The swipe at the ball high up in the air,
Yeah.
goes into his own box, and then, you know, kind of a
McTominay. with
borderline penalty, but
I would say so.
yeah.
He's like falling on him. He didn't make much contact, but he's like
Yeah.
falling. I don't know
Anytime
what
you come
McTominay is
come
doing.
from the back like that, it's going to be called. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then madness ensues. First penalty.
Saved.
saved, and then scored, but it's ruled off because Sarr encroached. So, retake. Second penalty,
Even worse.
also saved. Why didn't they change the penalty taker? I don't know.
Bad. They should have brought Troy Deeney back.
True. Bring him on for a 10-minute contract.
Yeah, I thought mainly what was really bad was the wide defending by United in the first half. Shaw and Wan-Bissaka were either not getting back, or when they were back, they were beat in tight spaces.
Yeah. I mean, there was like no shape to this team at all. I mean, it was
terrible.
It was just like everyone's running around. Who knows what's going on? No one.
And this happened with the first goal from out wide. Josh King is fed. I want to say it was it Dennis? Let me double check if it was
think
Dennis.
it was Dennis.
It was Emmanuel Dennis. Yeah, he was beating Wan-Bissaka the entire day out on that left flank.
Yeah.
Cuts it in. I don't know what I was looking at with De Gea. Like, it was at his feet, but he's like tangled and he's like falling over.
Yeah, should have been saved.
Yeah. He had a rough one, and there are some other ones too that could have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before half, this is just when you knew that United weren't gonna do it.
Yeah.
Feminio was winning second or third balls like multiple times in this sequence leading up to the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Gets it to Sarr. Sarr, virtually unmarked, is able to place it far corner.
Ridiculous. I mean, how is he allowed to have so much space? I don't understand the defending. Tragic. Goes into halftime 2-0.
2-0.
You know, bad things are coming for United. I mean, down 2-0 at the half. I mean, this can go one of two ways. You just come out
And
like
you know,
absolute monsters, or you die.
You know, as much as we're bashing Man U, they had, I think, one chance in the first half or two. I want to say Rashford had that one kind of, it was like play to him, far post, had a shot, nice save by Foster. But the other games, it's like, oh, well, if United scored there, then maybe it's different. And this one, I think even if they scored early on, they would have had to hold on for one goal.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what
don't
they
think
would
it
have
would have
done.
brought them shape or anything.
No, there was, I think it was mainly motivation too. This team was not up for it.
Yeah.
Van de Beek and Martial, and that's when you know that Ole was shooting a flare gun in the middle of the ocean.
He's throwing out all the stops.
Yeah, he's just praying. We finally got something out of Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
Could have had an assist, but Ronaldo with the smart play heads it over to Van de Beek for
Gets the
goal.
hockey assist.
Yes. Until the Maguire red card, I don't remember anything happening by either side.
Yeah, Bruno had a good chance. He missed. Ronaldo had a shot saved by Ben Foster, and at that point, you're like, it ain't happening. And
No.
then Maguire takes it from bad to worse. Poor challenge. I don't know what you're thinking going into a
Even the
challenge
yellow,
like
it was like, why did you do that?
that. Yeah,
Like, it's going to be yellow, and it's honestly at that point not even worth it. But
yeah. Gets sent off. And then what do Watford do? Run up the score line.
yes,
João Pedro, near post, hits him. Boom, boom. Then Dennis, just for the lulz, 90.
from
plus
Ben
5.
Foster. You love the Ben Foster assist to Dennis.
Give him the assist. Fantasy points for all you Ben Foster takers.
4-1. Ole sacked, departed.
He's not at the wheel.
Carrick is the caretaker. I don't know who they're going to bring in. Have you heard or read anything?
Sounds like they really want Poch, but that wouldn't be until
Till the
start
summer.
of the end of the season.
Yeah, so punt on the year, United apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that defense. It just looks so bad right now.
Yeah, they
As soon
look
as we
so
said that
unorganized.
Ole could weather the storm, they immediately came out and just laid down in the middle of the field, and Watford ran right past them.
They said, no, we cannot. Honestly, so pathetic, that performance.
Yeah. Quite bad. As far as Watford, though, massive
Massive
win to
results.
catch United at this time.
Yeah,
Could
that'll
be
give
it.
him a good boost, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean-
Maybe Ranieri won't get sacked. But my manager prediction of two will get sacked by the next international break. We're at 1. We just need one more.
One more. Who could that be?
Well, it won't be
Brendan
any of
Rodgers?
these. Won't be any of these managers. We got Wolves West Ham. Watch this game live too. Had the phone and the TV going. This is a pretty good game.
Yeah, this one went a little unexpectedly.
Sa, Cody, Kilman, Saiz, Ait Nouri, Neves, Semedo, Montinho, Jimenez, Podence, Chan. Finally dropped Trincao. It's about time. West Ham, you already know. Fabianski, Cresswell, Zuma, Dawson, Johnson, Fornells, Bowen, Benrahma, Sushek, Rice, Antonio. Fantastic lineup right there.
Yeah, Wolves, good start of the game. West Ham, I should have seen this coming. West Ham, they're okay sitting back and letting the other team have the ball sometimes. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
going to press you. And that works perfectly for Wolves because when you have the midfield pairing of Matinho and Ruben Neves, who aren't like the fastest, if you just give them enough time on the ball, they can pick out a pass.
Yeah, you see, in that way it makes sense, but at the same time, West Ham can counter pretty well. Wolves with 3 at the back and then the slower midfield, So I can't be too hard on yourself about thinking West Ham we're going to do a number on Wolves, but yeah, Wolves in this game, look, you mentioned it with the non-press from West Ham, but Montinho and Neves both looked very, very good this game.
Yeah.
And I thought Podence looked not amazing, but it wasn't Trincao, so is at least something was
yeah,
out there.
I thought he's been decent this season.
Yeah, when he normally kind of comes on as a sub for him, but
Yeah, I
don't
feel
know.
like he's kind of the best option right now.
yeah. Ait Nouri, pretty solid game too. They were able to get the ball up to Chan and Podence up the channels, up the wings a lot in this game. So, and honestly, Ben Johnson and Cresswell did a pretty decent job of containing him for the most part.
Yeah, honestly, I think the thing with West Ham, they looked pretty lackluster going forward. That
Yeah,
was
they
kind of
did.
their downfall of this
They
game.
looked off, especially Bowen was just because the chances kept falling to Jared Bowen, and he's not always the best finisher. He can, but that's not his bread and butter. He just couldn't quite with a header in the first half, and then late in the second half we'll get to it, but he had a chance middle of the box and just barely put it high.
Yeah, I thought West Ham's attack just in general kind of wasn't clicking. Benrahma, he looked okay at times, other times not so great.
I would say Fornals had a bad game.
Fornals, yes, I would say he had a bad game. I thought Antonio looked pretty
He just couldn't
Pretty-
quite.
meh.
Yeah, he couldn't get in the right spaces, and he definitely wasn't getting the service this game.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, credit to Wolves. They were killing it.
Yep.
Goes in 0-0 at half, and then Fabianski was just making saves.
Yeah, he was keeping West Ham alive, but West Ham didn't want to be alive
No,
in the attacking third.
no. But yeah, I think Fabianski had, I would say, like 2 or 3 like massive saves. One he tipped over the bar, one he pushed to the far side, and then
Yeah.
there was one other one.
He's got to be one of the most underrated keepers.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
He's been so good for years.
He's holding off Areola from being the number 1 there. I think a lot of people coming in this year would have probably anticipated him to take over at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows, Fabianski playing like this. But yeah, about the 60th minute, West Ham they looked a little slow today too for whatever
Yeah.
reason. I think maybe that's just Wolves having possession enough in the first half, kind of warmed down a bit. But you saw in this sequence, the passing sequence, the 1-2s to work. Even Declan Rice, he had another great game, but in this one, kind of getting pulled out a bit, and then just the quick passing sequence from central to wide between I forget, it was Semedo. It was Semedo, Jimenez, and Podence, and they just worked it all the way up the pitch. Podence, edge of the box to Jimenez. Great shot.
Yeah. Nicely done by Wolves. I mean, that's a big win for
Are
Wolves.
you a believer? Are you a believer yet? I've been trying to toot Wolves' horn on this pod for a while.
I need to see more consistency. I mean, when they're good, but when they're bad, it's just like...
I can look past that.
I'm not sure if they're a bad team that plays good or a good team that's playing bad.
I'm of the belief they're a good team that plays bad at times.
Interesting. I'm still...
You can't create
still
that
not-
many chances and be bad.
I'm still not sold.
Well, we'll see.
Need
Because
more time.
I actually gave them an anti-jinx by saying they go bottom half of the table. That's how my predictions have been. They've either been just completely nail or hammer on the nail of the head, whatever that expression is.
Something
along
you're hitting
that.
the hammer and
Look, listen.
listen, you hit the hammer and it hits the nail.
People call me George Bush.
Going offline won't fix it.
Speaking of stuff that won't get fixed by going offline, Arsenal, Liverpool.
What? Arsenal had a bye week.
Yeah, they pretty much did. Alisson, Van Dijk, your guy, the Greek man,
Tsimikas.
Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Thiago, Ox, Mane, Salah, Jota. As far as Arsenal are concerned, Ramsdale, and that's the team. Ben White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Tavares, Partey, Saka, ESR, Albert, Fat Albert,
Skinny Albert.
Alex Lacazette, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
You know, when I saw this midfield for Liverpool, I thought, hey,
It's doable.
we got a chance.
Yeah.
And then I watched the game and I said, hey, we
We
don't
ain't
have
got
a
a
chance.
You know, I didn't think much of it, but it feels like, and we've talked about this, the first opening 10 minutes of every Arsenal game, Arsenal's buzzing, and they're kind of really taking it to the other team a lot of times. I did not see that
Not
in
in
this
this game, no.
game. Liverpool from the get-go was like,
Anfield
All right.
is a very cursed place for Arsenal. There have been many very bad games
yeah,
for
something
Arsenal
like
at
that.
Anfield.
We can't talk anymore, people.
And honestly, I mean, you could tell Arsenal, they were hanging in there in the first half. They were hanging in there.
Well, the main thing we talked about coming in this game was Arsenal's defense, and it's like they've looked solid. They've looked a little leaky at times against teams like Leicester and Watford, and but they've held on and they've kept clean sheets and stuff. Let's see how they hold up against Liverpool. And I wouldn't say until like the 30th minute they were really starting to get exposed. I'd say they're holding their own. They weren't really doing much in attack in the first 30. I think just in the game, like Aubameyang had a chance, and there's like maybe one other chance that
They had pretty much nothing going on. So it pretty much came down to defending the whole time.
Got worked. That first one that really stood out to me, which was like, oh, this is going to get bad, was that, gosh, who was that wide? It went to Salah in the middle, and just no one was on him, and Ramsdale had to make a massive save. That was like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah. And I think the key moment of this match for me was that foul where, well, it wasn't called, but Mane on Tomiyasu. It was kind of by the touchline by the coaches, and Arteta got all flustered.
That was great.
And then Klopp got all flustered.
And then both started going at each other.
And then they went after each other. And then the fans were into the game. And you could feel the energy change. The fans got more energy because it was kind of subdued. Arsenal, they were kind of breaking it up, keeping things slow.
Yeah.
And that was working.
I think another thing, too, about this is just, and this will go along with that energy, Arsenal, I wouldn't say are like a super, super young team. They're young, but I think the main thing is the inexperience.
Youngest in the league, actually.
Yeah, well, they still have plenty of guys out there that you wouldn't consider young, but they don't have that experience of going into a place like Anfield from guys you rely on. Yeah. Okay, you have Aubameyang, and he's a little older, and he has experience, but he's not the main part of this. He's not going to be in the midfield dictating the game. Emile Smith-Rowe hasn't been in big games like this. Even like solid defenders that Arsenal have, like Tomiyasu and Ben White, they haven't been in games like this.
Especially like Tavares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from Portugal and stuff. I mean, it's so this was going to be a lot to ask from the get-go.
Yeah.
First goal off the set piece, Mane, I think it was a header. It just went back post.
I've deleted this game from my memory.
Just poor marking. His class is just above Arsenal's, and he's too quick. Gets to the spot. Arsenal couldn't get there. Goes in half 1-0. You're like, oh, maybe Arsenal can nick one.
Not too bad.
And then just Nuno Tavares dribbling around, losing the ball.
Oh, that was very triggering. I mean, what are you doing? This is Liverpool. Like, they're going to press you.
And then who was like behind Jota? It was like Partey just kind of, I felt like gave up on it when he's like behind Jota. Yeah. And then Jota was able to dribble too. If he was pressing the whole time, he's able to maybe at least not take it away, but contest the shot. Right.
It did seem like there could have been some more effort in that. I mean, it was like after Tavares gave it up, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
And then the third goal.
It just slipped away.
Yeah, the third goal, just breaking. Salah, what are you going to do? You knew he'd get at least one. He's just too good right now. And then just to rub it in your face.
This one hurt the most,
Tomiyasu.
honestly.
Klopp's like, let's get this guy out here.
Yeah. This guy who can't even cut it at Southampton.
Yeah, this guy that Sam doesn't rate. Yeah, let's make sure he scores.
Oh, man. Painful.
4-0.
Painful.
Not to mention, we'll just say the one positive for Arsenal. Ramsdale was standing on his head again.
Yeah,
it could have been 7 or 8.
Yeah.
If Bernd Leno was in there, it might have been 9.
Yeah, I think so.
Ramsdale, you would have been Southampton.
True.
Going forward, Liverpool, massive victory. I think, you'll look at the midfield and say it doesn't look that amazing and stuff, but it might just be enough, man.
Yeah, it worked in this game.
I mean, it's as long as you have Mo Salah out there.
Yeah, you have a chance.
Yeah, you have a chance of winning any and every game.
And not to mention, though, kind of any time in the first half where Arsenal would try and hit on the counter, Liverpool's center backs are so good.
Yeah.
Like, they can instantly stop something when it's one-on-one, whereas other center backs would get completely exposed and have gotten exposed. But, I mean, you have Van Dijk and Matip, like, they're no-nonsense kind of defenders. Like, they're going to stop the ball, and that allows Liverpool to play as high as they do.
Not to mention Trent Alexander-Arnold this game was nuts in terms of creating chances, so... Not enough you can say about Liverpool, Arsenal. You just got to move on.
It's a tough lesson, but we go again.
Another minus goal differential. You got to build it back up to 0. You got to beat the crap teams, and then...
Some might even say we build it back up to bring it back down.
Moving on. That was it for the Saturday games. Sunday game, City, Everton... at the Etihad.
You know how we had those wonderful 3-3 draws?
Yeah.
This was the price we paid. We had to watch Man City versus Everton.
Ederson, Walker, Stones, Laporte, Cancelo, Gundogan, Rodri, Silva, Sterling, Foden, Cole Palmer.
Shout out Cole Palmer.
Big Cole Palmer. He was killing it this game. Pickford, Keane, Digne, Godfrey, Coleman, Allen, Delph, Gray, Gordon, Richarlison, Townsend. This game was summed up by like Man City was just trying so hard and just like overthinking it, I feel like. And then as soon as we'll cover all of it, but as soon as they got the first goal, it just felt like, oh, this is going to be a complete wash now. And it came from like out of nothing. It was just like, oh, Cancelo's going to outside boot, make it look easy. And then Sterling's like, oh, whatever, I'll just tap it upper 90.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that first half was just depressing watching that. I mean, Man City just passing back and forth. Zero resistance.
Mr. Godfrey was had a bad day at the office.
Yeah.
And Digne as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, pretty much.
I mean, they were just passing that will, and it was pretty disgusting.
Pickford had a good game, though, I thought.
Pickford,
He had his
minus
moments.
the distribution,
Yeah, well,
that was pretty bad,
Yes.
honestly. Like, that was shocking. How
it didn't
bad
really
that was.
matter, but
No.
yes. Well, we've seen that with him before, too.
Yeah.
With Everton and with England. Like, there's just moments where it's like his passing is so ass. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What?
How did you shank a goal kick?
Yeah, I mean, they had plenty of chances. I know Bernardo Silva had the one. Gundogan had one that was saved as well. I thought it was so weird, and honestly kind of upset me that Rodri scored because the announcer's like, he just needs to pop a shot. It's like, what? That's not what Man City do. Like, what do you mean?
Yes.
You should just do that. And he does it, and then it's a banger. But,
Yeah, absolute rocket.
Do you want to talk about your guy Raheem Sterling out here?
Okay, that ball from Cancelo was disgusting, first and foremost.
Yeah.
That finish was pretty disgusting as well.
But what about before that?
Before that,
Where there's a potential penalty.
freaking Raheem Sterling. Let me tell you about this guy. Makes a run in the box, fouled by Kane. Very soft. Very soft. Initially called a penalty.
There wasn't even a foul.
There was no contact. And you got Raheem Sterling out here whining, trying to get penalties against Everton. Like, come on. It's Everton.
That's what you got to do when you're Raheem
It's
Sterling.
Everton.
You're like, I can't be on England getting tap-ins all day. I got to die for me penalties, mate.
Just
Terrible.
when you're Man City out here and you're diving against Everton, who are like on the brink of death, I have no respect for you, and
Wow.
you bother me. a lot.
Wow.
You soulless club.
We'll get to
what I got
Soulless
to say.
later. It remind me about that. There's another thing. I know we've kind of talked about it before, but there's another part of Soulless. It's actually the next game. Cancelo to Sterling. So that was the one goal.
Yep.
1-0 at half. And then kind of that whole Rodri play, it was weird. It's like Everton really couldn't clear the ball. And then like Man City would do nothing and lose it. And then Everton still couldn't clear the ball.
Yeah.
And then Rodri's like, okay, here comes upper 90. And Pickford, nothing you can do about that. That was just a rocket.
There were times in this game where you see Everton get on the ball, and it's like, if they were better, they could punish Man City. Because you see the same...
Yeah, it was more in this. I felt like it was early second half.
Yeah, second half.
Because literally the only time they had the ball in the first half was the first 30 seconds where they like pushed it toward net, and then that was about it.
It definitely wasn't in the first half. But the second half, for some reason, they looked better. I don't know. But you see kind of the same flaws that Palace was able to expose on
but
Man City. Like,
Everton just not able to.
like, you just hit them down the wing on the break fast, and then you get it across and score. But then it's like, okay, this is Everton, and we don't have anyone who can do that.
Yeah, because we have two guys, Townsend and Damari Gray, which Damari Gray getting hurt. You got Alex Iwobi coming on.
Oh, God.
That is so rough. And then Richarlison gets a yellow this game. He's suspended next game.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse for Everton.
We're going to have to see who they play because we'll be making some predictions about that. Surely they don't win then. Silva gets a third off Palmer's deflected shot. I thought Palmer actually looked pretty good, but the worst part about this game was like the British announcer saying Palma.
Palma.
They didn't say Palmer. Palma. So it sounded like the
Palma.
Italian team. They're just saying that the whole time.
Arrivederci.
3-0.
I love me some pasta.
Not much to look into this game. City, dominant win. At least, hey, look, we've said that they have to turn up for these games. That's how they're going to win the title. So good for them. A little squad rotation, too, in this one, getting Sterling in there and stuff. Everton, there's not much to say. You're in a tough spot, and it's only going to get tougher.
Is Everton going to get relegated?
No. Come on, now. Next
pretty
game.
funny, not going to lie.
Wow. It'd pretty much be... It'd be a little worse than... I know, it wouldn't be quite as bad as like Schalke getting relegated in Germany. They were at least like a Champions League team. Everton
it's
was
pretty
close, but
they're kind of like the English Schalke.
Yes. Moving on, Tottenham leads. And before we get to the lineups, I'm just going to say the soulless thing since I remembered it. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The one thing like Tottenham had going for them is at least White Hart Lane was like Keno. Like great games going on there. There's a vibe around the pitch and a lot of good moments for Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is so soulless. There's no atmosphere.
It's what happens when your club is run by Daniel Levy, who only cares about money.
It's so bad, dude.
And not about any success or,
the morale of
heritage
the
or
players. Yeah.
entertainment.
And fans. Yeah.
He just cares about the pound signs.
So this one, Lloris, Dyer, Tanganga, Davies. I still don't get the Ben Davies. I don't get it.
Shout out Wales.
Reguilon, Højbjerg, Winks, Royale, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, Lucas Moura. For Leeds, Meslier, Cooper, Llorente, Phillips, Forshaw, Dallas, Struijk, Click, Dan James, and I want to say, yes, Harrison and Gelhardt.
Yes,
well.
Gelhardt. Happy to see him get a start.
Good.
Deserved.
Yeah, was Rodrigo hurt or what? I didn't care enough to look.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was, yeah.
This one started off with Leeds just taking it to him.
Yeah, pretty surprising. I mean, Leeds had some great possession first 15 minutes. They looked completely in control of the game.
Yeah, mainly the chances were the Stu Dallas and Adam Forshaw. They were kind of like longer attempts, but they're pretty close.
Yeah, it looked a lot better.
Lloris.
Honestly.
Especially wide. I mean, and that's just a given. Like, I mean, somehow this was probably Reguilon and Royale's best games that I've seen from them this year, which isn't saying much, but
for sure Reguilon, yeah.
Yeah. They at least weren't. They're still getting beat a lot more than they should, but still. I thought Calvin Phillips was. It just seems like he's not quite at Calvin Phillips level yet. Mm-hmm. He's getting there, but not quite there. Thought your guy Dan James looked good, though.
Dan James did look good. I like me some Joe Gelhardt, I like the intent that he shows. Like, anytime he gets on the ball, it's like, this guy wants to score.
Yes.
I love watching that. Jack Harrison was looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, I think this you could say was his best game. He had a pretty good game against, maybe not the Leicester game, maybe one or two before those. He's looking pretty decent, but yeah, they need to get him going, that's for sure. But towards the end of the first half, Harrison makes it happen. Nice little move. Cross to Dan James. Dan James, a little tap in for you. Easy as you like.
Very nice.
It was a well-worked play by Leeds.
Yeah, that first half for Tottenham. Talk about soulless. That team had no soul. They had no energy. They had no nothing.
Yeah.
And then somehow after the break, something changed.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, it felt like all their chances is very Conte-esque, where the wide defenders are getting forward, and then a lot of it's going to be reliant on them. And Royale and Reguilon were not doing it. They just simply weren't doing it. As it goes on, Son and Kane, they just had to go more central. They didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. They had to go more central. Kane actually looked decent in terms of passing today. I give him that.
Yeah.
He actually made good passes that led to shots and stuff. Son had his moments running in behind, but nothing too crazy. He had the weird shot that like was to the center of the box. It was like a cross, and then I think it went off Cooper, and it went off the crossbar.
Yeah, I think so.
That was so strange.
Yeah.
That would have been a very Tottenham goal. Have we talked about how Tottenham didn't have a shot on target for, was it 2.5 games? Didn't have a shot on target for 2.5 games?
Yeah, they were pretty tragic.
I mean, to be fair to Tottenham, any time that you're going through a struggle like that, no matter how good or bad you are, it's almost guaranteed that when you get the first goal, or just even shot on target in general, it's going to be the most shit.
Yeah,
shot
true,
or goal
true.
you're ever going to score. And that's exactly what happened here with the ball just like kind of, there's a mad scramble, ball falls loose. Who got the assist to Højbjerg? I got to look this up.
Was it Son?
Lucas Moura.
Oh, Mora.
Moura. Plays it in. Højbjerg didn't connect with all of it, but it was just enough. It goes in, 1-1. Tottenham coming alive. And then guess what? 69th minute, Eric Dyer, who somehow takes their free kicks.
Yes.
Little deflection off the post. Reguilon catches Leeds asleep, puts it away. Nice run by Reguilon, but
Yeah, somehow he knew exactly where the ball was going to be. And he was there and scored.
yes. 2-1 finishes. Something to build off of for Conte.
Conte going absolute nuts at the final
I think the
whistle.
result was enough. I don't think the performance was enough to build off of, but the result, he can just rally on that alone and be like, look at what we can do.
Look here. Listen.
Look, listen.
I think the second half was a good thing to build off for Tottenham. I mean, the fact that they could come out in the first half look so terrible and then come out in the second half and look a lot better gives you a little hope.
Yeah.
Still, it's very concerning, the playing out of the back. I mean, the first half, that was god-awful. It looks so, so forced. It's like, okay, I get ball. I look for pass.
I can't do
I
anything.
make
Play it
pass.
side or back.
Yeah, and then you end up just losing the ball, and it's like, oh god, this is hard to watch. Like, there needs to be some flow and rhythm, and you can't just go
No.
pass, 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 pass.
No.
You're gonna give up the ball.
It has to be the direct formula. Leeds a little hard done by the result. I felt it could have been a draw.
Yeah, I think they could have got a point out of this one.
Yeah. I mean, look, they caught a break by that one not going in, but the post one that Reguilon ended up tapping in, pretty unlucky.
Yeah.
So going forward for Leeds, I like their attack. I kind of like what they're trying to build toward, but the defense is really just, that's what's going to keep them from for sure staying up.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if they had a half decent defense, I would feel fully confident saying they stay up. But
they really
keep
need
hanging around that.
Luke Ayling back. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
a big force in their team,
True,
offensively and defensively.
very true. Let's do team of the week.
Team of the week.
Team of the week right here.
It's gonna be a good one.
I struggled at goalie this week. I did. I truly did. I debated 5 different guys. I even thought about Ramsdale. He conceded 4. I even thought about him.
Yeah.
I went Emi Martinez because he made 1 or 2 big saves. And second, I had Fabianski.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fabianski or Ben Foster.
Could have been. Rest of the team, Alexander-Arnold, Kilman, Rudiger, Femenia, Conte, Rodri, and then it's kind of cheating because he's not a regular midfielder, but it went Canos. And then we had Dennis Benteke
Yo, what up, Benteke?
and Jota. Yeah, he had to get in there. I was looking, I was like, there has to be someone. He missed 4 chances they could have scored, and they're like, nope, it had to be Benteke.
Oh boy.
Match week 13 predictions, followed by match week 14. We'll start off first game, Arsenal-Newcastle at the Emirates.
Yeah, what kind of Newcastle are we gonna see? Are we gonna see attacking Newcastle or?
Now we had the test and Arsenal failed it. Now we have to have a pop quiz real quick and see if they
Wait,
can at
how
least-
bad are you?
Yeah, because Newcastle can score.
Yeah,
We know that.
and they can concede. As
Yes. So
well. 3-3 draw.
it might be.
Same
No.
time?
I'm thinking 2-1 Arsenal.
I'm gonna say 3-1. I think Arsenal is going to be able to exploit Newcastle on the counterattack. Guys like Smith Rowe, Saka should be more involved in this one.
You would hope so. Palace, Villa. I'm loving this one right here. Selhurst.
It's a good matchup.
We'll see how conservative Villa play again. If they're kind of sitting back, Palace can take it to you, and Benteke will eventually, make you pay.
50% of the time, all the time.
And then Palace defense look a little shaky lately. Maybe Villa catch Palace on the break. Who knows? What are you thinking for this? What are you watching for, and what's your prediction?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Crystal Palace approaches this one, going against Villa, who perhaps might be able to limit their offense if they play more conservatively. I'd like to see a little more attacking threat out of Aston Villa. I think, there's room to exploit Crystal Palace's defense.
Absolutely.
I really want to see Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings really get going.
Yes.
I mean, we haven't seen much of them this season. I want to see them go on a run, score some goals.
What's the prediction?
I'm going to say 1-1.
I was going to say 2-1 Villa, but then I can't do that to our boys Crystal Palace, so we have to go 1-1.
It is at the Selhurst.
It is. Liverpool, Southampton. What are we looking for in this one?
Is this one of those games where Southampton gets a point?
No.
Convincing win for Liverpool, and then they drop points to Southampton?
I can't see it.
Probably not.
I can't see it. The main thing is just, I guess Southampton presses, but that might just get them in more trouble if they're doing that.
Yeah.
Especially going forward, I have no faith in them being able to do anything against Liverpool's defense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-0 Liverpool.
I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay. Norwich, the revitalized Norwich versus Wolves.
How good are Norwich? Are they good enough to beat Wolves?
I don't know. 6th place Wolves, they got to keep winning. But Norwich is like, hey, this is Dean Smith time, baby.
Yeah.
And we got to get out of relegation.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for in this game?
Well, which Wolves show up? Is it going to be the good Wolves or the bad Wolves? I'd like to see Norwich press Matinho and Neves, not allow them time on the ball. Maybe hit him on the counterattack.
Norwich don't really press that much, though. And Dean Smith didn't press a ton at Villa.
Well, that's...
You know what I wanted to say? Is it's hilarious that Dean Smith's last game for Villa was a loss to Southampton, and he comes back with Norwich, and his first win for Norwich is against Southampton.
Bless up to back-to-back games.
Hans is like, wait, what? Who's this guy again? Yeah, if Norwich sit back like they did in the first half of the Southampton game and can't really get a holding of the game, it's going to be time to pay with Wolves. But
I think Wolves will pull out a win. I'm going to say 2-0 Wolves.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, Mr. Touton Wolves, and then he has them draw against Norwich.
Dude, Norwich, they're killers now. If anyone's out there listening, we're all in on Norwich now. We just hated Fark. Brighton Leeds, I kind of like this as an 11:30 game just because it's not teams that most people can see all the time.
Yeah,
and they're entertaining.
I'd like to see Brighton score some goals against a weaker Leeds defense.
Yes.
Leeds, I think they'll struggle to score. I think they'll probably struggle to have much of the ball, honestly.
I don't know. Leeds lately have at least looked better in terms of their passing and their playing fast. Their pace has looked good. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't rule that out, but if Brighton hold the ball, it's only a matter of time before they break down Leeds' defense. I don't trust that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I was thinking 2-2. I'm actually going to go 1-1 draw.
I'm going to say 4-0 Leeds.
Really?
No, I thought that's what you were going to say.
No. We're going 1-1.
I'm going to say 1-0 Brighton.
Moving on to the Sunday games. Oh, this is who Everton gets to play. Brentford-Everton. Brentford, you better win.
More chaos ensues.
They're literally, this is the best chance you'll have to win.
Yeah. If you
Everton,
can't beat this Everton team.
No Damari Gray, probably. I haven't seen the prognosis or anything. What's going on with him?
We'll just assume that he's out.
Richarlison suspended on yellows. They literally only have Townsend out there and Allen. I mean, they're going to have to start Rondon. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Brentford,
please
if
win.
there was ever a time not to concede or only concede once, it better be this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for Brentford because they're incapable of defending.
I'm going to say 3-0
Wow.
Brentford.
This feels like one where Everton just
I
make us
know.
look bad.
I feel like Everton's got a sneaky win in them.
I'm going to say a Townsend penalty on that one. And they go up 1-0 and then they can't hold the lead.
Yeah.
Burnley, Tottenham, Turf Moor.
That's a good test for Spurs.
Yeah.
I
You're going to be building out of the back. They're going to be playing long balls on you.
Yeah.
Burnley's beaten Tottenham before. I think, to be fair, that was back when Poch was manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, was it the first year they're in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? It might have been when they're still in the Olympic Stadium. But
You
Doesn't-
mean Wembley?
Wembley. Yeah, sorry. Not West Ham Stadium. Yeah, no, I don't know. Burnley haven't looked nearly as bad in midfield, but their defense, obviously, last week, oof. So, should we just go for the 3-2 Tottenham victory?
I'm going to say 2-1 Burnley.
All right.
Yeah. I think the physicality, I think it'll get to them.
That's not a bad call.
I think Burnley will be able to defend well against Spurs, who don't offer too much attacking threat if they're playing like they did in the first half of the last game. You know, maybe get a couple goals on the counter.
Yeah. They got to be playing the long ball. Leicester, Watford. You know, coming in this year, you would have thought comfortable win for Leicester.
You would have thought. But
Also, how's Leicester? Are all their games in the first half at the KP? It feels like they play 75% of their games at home.
Yeah, it does.
Leicester, Watford. What are you going to be watching for? What's the main?
How bad is Leicester is the question.
Yeah,
They got to win this one, I would think.
I mean, how susceptible are they to the counterattack and just like fast play? Because that's what Watford's going to do. That's what Watford is doing against United. It's what Watford did against Everton. Leicester are going to hold the ball, I guess.
Well, if they play with the same midfield that they did in the last game.
I think
Doesn't matter.
Tielemans is supposed to be back, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Supposed to be. But yeah, with this one, can Watford really go back-to-back wins though?
Yeah,
That's asking
true.
for a lot.
Yeah, that is asking for a lot. I'm going to say 2-0 Leicester.
Okay. I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
Okay.
And they almost
Cheeky
blow
goal.
it.
Yeah.
There's one where
Good call.
Watford should score and there's like a goal line clearance or something stupid happens. Or
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, Josh King equalized in the 89th and he's just like 10 yards offside and you're like, oh wait, no, what was that? It wasn't even close. City West Ham, big implications there.
I think West Ham might struggle this game just because they want to sit back and not really pressure Man City at all. But they do have the quality to hit them on the counter, exploit them in those wide areas on the counter. I like that matchup. I needed to see a little more sharpness out of the attacking players from West Ham. City, you hope to build on, the 3-0 win.
I have a weird gut feeling that West Ham has a really good chance to win this, but I'm going to go Man City 2-1.
I'm going to say Man City 1-0.
Something with the West Ham attack. I wish I had a little more faith in it right now, but it's kind of been off lately. Chelsea United to round out the week. Michael Carrick. Meet Tommy Tuck.
Might have a rough first go.
I don't know. United somehow pull these out every once in a while, and you're like, what
Yeah.
just happened?
That's true. They're going to need some good vibes.
At the Bridge, I would say the thing you have to watch is the midfield and how if Bruno can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And what their attack hasn't done anything, but there's some big names, so maybe some big-time players show up for the big game like Chelsea. So maybe a Ronaldo goal or something, but
Yeah.
it's hard to envision it, isn't it, with how well Chelsea's played and then how crappy United's played?
I mean, the way I see it playing out is that Chelsea should have, pretty good control over this one. The
You would
midfield
think.
battle is just so one-sided.
I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea.
I'm going to say 3-0 Chelsea.
Moving on, match week 14. We got to do it. We got midweek action finally.
We're getting into that time of the season where the games are coming fast.
So we're going right into it. Newcastle, Norwich.
I'm going to say Newcastle 2-1 over Norwich.
Wow.
Maybe a 2-2? Maybe a 2-2?
No, that's asking a lot. I think it is going to be I want to say 2-0 that shares there now, but we'll go 2-1. I agree.
Okay. Leeds Crystal Palace.
Ooh, this is nice.
Some attacking threat.
Leeds thinking about what could have been if they got Conor Gallagher
True.
this game. 1-1. I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of.
It's an interesting shout.
This is a Benteke goal waiting to happen because I don't trust anything with
Liam
Leeds
Cooper
defense.
fails to clear, rolls
Yeah.
to Benteke, who scores after missing 3 consecutive times.
He fanned on it 3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Leeds have a well-worked goal past Palace defense.
I'm going to say 2-1 Palace.
All right. Then we move on. The Wednesday games, bunch of Wednesday games. Southampton, Leicester. Is this what gets Leicester's season back on track? A 9-0 at Southampton again?
The annual, third annual.
Yeah, the Southampton Invitational, Leicester calls it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this. Because Leicester's midfield.
I kind of favor Southampton in this matchup, honestly.
Yeah, I do too, and that's what's scary. I'm going to go with 1-1.
Leicester just feel like they're so far off of any sort of good form.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a big win against United, and that didn't even do much for them.
No.
Moving on. Watford, Chelsea. Watford 5-0. Bing, bam, boom.
At the Vic. It could happen. You never know.
This could be one of those games where Chelsea slips up kind of like a Burnley.
You could see it. You just never know with Watford. But then again, you have Watford getting a result at United, at Leicester.
Okay,
And
now
now-
let's slow down. 5-0 Chelsea. Pump the brakes.
I'm going to go with a good old 1-0 Chelsea.
I'm going to say 3-1 Chelsea.
The story of Chelsea-Watford is literally that the first time Watford came up and they were like tied, and then Cesc just pinged a ball all the way across the field to like Diego Costa for like a breakaway tap-in goal. That's just how it works out. It's kind of like, it's like a Arsenal Burnley, where it's like, it's almost like a WWE thing where you're just waiting for the fake thing to happen, and you're like, oh, and it's a penalty for Arsenal. You know that they're gonna win for no reason. West Ham Brighton.
Interesting matchup.
Brighton gonna hold the ball for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a game. I think this might be a game where Cucurella is not really able to do a ton because West Ham will be on him like crazy.
Or it could potentially be better for Brighton because West Ham will be more attacking.
Maybe. At the lunch, I'm going to go West Ham.
Still favor West Ham.
I'm going to go West Ham 1-0.
Yeah, I like 1-0.
Wolves Burnley.
Lovely.
This is going to be one that I will not be watching right away. Burnley just sitting back. Wolves, can they put it to them? Can Burnley hit on the counter? Did Burnley beat Wolves last year at the Molineux?
They might have.
I think they did, or maybe it was a couple years ago. But we'll just stick with a good old 1-1 draw here.
That's what I was going to say, 1-1.
Villa City, Stevie G going up against Pep. He's going to show me who the true mastermind is.
Yeah, unless I see some better attacking, I'm going to go with the 2-0 City.
Yep. I'm going to go 1-0.
I don't really expect Villa to be scoring too many goals coming up, but
Merseyside derby, Everton. It couldn't come at
Oh,
a
God.
worse time.
Here's the 9-0, honestly.
I don't know. Sometimes big games you just have to throw form out the window a little bit. With this one, you can't though.
When you have no players.
Yeah.
When you got Solomon Rondon starting.
4-0 Liverpool.
5-0 Liverpool.
You know, every time we say that, it just does not go that way.
Everton 5-0.
I was gonna say Southampton. Tottenham, Brentford. Depending on how this one goes for Brentford, maybe if the game against Everton gets them back in form a little bit, I could see them get another win out of nowhere against Tottenham, but we'll go with the Tottenham 1-0.
Yeah, I think Brentford does have a chance to win if they're playing well, but I think it'll be 2-1 Spurs.
Here it is. Last prediction. United Arsenal.
Oh boy, this is a biggie.
I would say this is another test for Arsenal have the quiz in Newcastle and another test. Just back to back.
This is another one of those, like going away to Anfield. It's going to be tough, despite the fact that United is in poor form. I'm going to say United 2-1.
I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw. I want a prediction before we go from each match week.
All right, first match week, we're going to get a goal from Norgard against Everton.
Holy moly.
Hot take.
Who would ever seen it coming?
Second week, we're going to get a goal from... Let's see, what do we got here?
I wish you would repeat someone.
Jay Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Very disappointed he didn't score.
He at least came on.
He did. I'm going to say a goal from Adam Armstrong against Leicester.
Wow. There you have it, folks.
There you have it. Some bold predictions.
So you got the early, before Thanksgiving, Wednesday edition of the Premiership Perusal. We'll be back after the match week 14 games, so it will be that Friday after. Until then.
Many Thanksgivings to all of you.
Hasta la
Americans
vista.
out there. I am thankful for this podcast.
You better
And the
be.
Premier League. And Burnley.